whoever inherits the rock and roll earth over the next 10 or 15 years is going to be somebody who is very rebellious against what music has become.
Just a little touch of makeup, just a little touch of bull, just a little free card trick embedded in your platform set. You can wear a gold Piaget on your semaphore wrist, and you can dance the old adage with a new devil twist, and you can ring a crown of roses around your cranium. They've been dying on your cross of platinum. If you're in the crazed institution of the stars, be the man that you think you really are. If you're in the crazed institution of the stars.
I'm John Brodey, and this is Rock Around the World. This week we'll be devoting an entire hour to an extensive conversation with Ian Anderson, as well as listening to the music of a band that since 1968 has evolved into one of modern music's institutions, Jethro Tull. Ian Anderson's views are, to say the least, unique, as you'll be finding out for yourselves when he joins us after these messages, so stay tuned.
Relive one of the most exciting concert experiences of the 70s. Renaissance, live at Carnegie Hall. A special 2-record set on Sire Records. Backed by a full orchestra, Renaissance recreate the most thrilling moments of their recorded career, including Prologue, Ocean Gypsy, Can You Understand, Running Hard, Mother Russia, and a stunning 23-minute version of Ashes Are Burning. Almost 2 hours of magnificent music. The best of Renaissance, brilliantly captured live. Renaissance, live at Carnegie Hall, marketed by ABC Records.
Jethro Tull originated in 1968 as a band that mixed jazz, blues, rock, and many other forms of music into a brand new sound. Looking back, it may have seemed that Ian Anderson and company were taking a big chance playing the music they did. But Ian points out that the music business, as it had evolved up to that time, was responsible for the music like early Jethro Tull's.
10 years ago, a lot of musicians decided they were sick, fed up to the back teeth with the kind of rubbish that was being played on radio, and said, we are going to play, whether we go down, whether whether the ship sinks with us still playing on it. You know, we're going to go down fighting and play what we want to play. And way back then, when record sales were much smaller and radio shows didn't play the same amount of so-called progressive music, or whatever you want to call it, that made for an interesting diversion. There was the underground situation, which was lovely because kids had to go out and make the choice for themselves. There weren't enough radio shows that could be representative of all of this new rock music. Kids had to go into the record shops finally and sift through the records and find their heroes. They weren't delivered on a plate, you know, with French dressing. They had to go and find them, and that's what made it a particularly worthwhile exercise. do like to still believe in that sort of rebellious 15 to 30-year-old permanent adolescent, you know, who wants something different, wants something he isn't finding on the radio all the time, who wants to go into a record store and say, you know, Christ, I'm sick up to here with Jethro Bloody Tull and Elton Bleeding John, you know, I want to find something different that's right for me, you know, and it's got to be something better as an alternative than the latest group, you know, just because they're new, it doesn't make them good, you know, and I think it's very difficult for the really talented musicians these days, you know, new groups, I mean, new musicians, to find any way into the industry because it has become so stylized. It's all very well for people like me or, you know, any of the other people who've been around for 5, 10 years or whatever, making records and still selling a few 100,000 every time. It's all very easy because we have a known style, you know, we have a certain following, a certain audience that exists. But I feel it's very difficult for young groups who may want to do something different. There's no way in. No one wants to play anything that's different, you know. It's an unfortunate legacy of the power that the underground music thing left us all with, was that great media awareness of the fact that something other than strictly straight down the line pop music could become popular. And the irony is that it has been that great rich variety of original music has been sort of whittled down into a new kind of format, you know, which has to be obeyed and has to be played on the radio, has to be consumed in great quantities by young people who really don't have to make choices anymore. You only have to choose whether to buy Elton John or Led Zeppelin. And that's really no choice, you know. They should be having to choose between people they've never even heard of before.
Crying, I want to know, how can I smile and make it right for 60 days and 80 nights and not give in and lose the fight? To help me, and then it probably will. I won't go down, acting the same old play. It's 60 days for just one night. Don't think I'd make it, but then I might. back to the ones that I know, with whom I can be what I want to be. In just 1 week for the feeling to go, and with you there to help me, then it probably will. Going back to the ones that I know, with whom I can be what I want to be. In just 1 week for the feeling to go, and with you there to help me, then it probably will. Going back to the ones that I know, with whom I can be what I want to be. Just 1 week for the feeling to go, and with you there to help me, it probably will.
Let the poor man get along. Hey! Playground, yes, no kicks from little boys. But rather make it with a electric grade. Or maybe her attention is drawn by Aqualung, who watches through the railings as they play. Cross out Mary, goes jumping in again. She signs no contract, but she always plays a game. She dives in hands her village on expense accounting rule. And the jackknife Baba drops her off at school. Hey! Cross out Mary. Oh, Mary.
We'll be rejoining our special guest Ian Anderson after these words of interest, so don't go away.
Presenting the legendary Christine Perfect album.
Yes, I'm sitting here waiting here for you.
Before joining Fleetwood Mac, Christine McVie recorded a solo album under her maiden name, Christine Perfect.
Yes, and I'm deserted, so that I'm crazy about you, babe.
That album, made in England with some very popular friends, became a classic there, although it was never released in this country until now.
I would rather go blind.
One of the common pitfalls of a group that has hit the proverbial big time is to start playing off its name rather than off its talent, something that serves to ensure the band's continuing popularity. Occasionally, though, as Ian Anderson agreed, a band that has become an overnight sensation hasn't a clue as to why.
Heard him ringing on my bed. He said my
Yes, you can become fashionable for absurd reasons at any time. I mean, Jethro Tull may be that we become fashionable again in America, in the sense that, you know, it's and suddenly a new and growing thing again, instead of being something that's based on reputation rather than innovation. One would like to see both of those things, really, coexist. You know, that there's people come to see you because of reputation, but go away having seen a little bit of something that they didn't expect, a little bit of something new, and that you're always getting new fans as well as keeping the old ones. And that would be the ideal, I suppose. I mean, we're going on and playing a progressive rock show is what we're doing on stage now. And we've got rid of all the theatrics. We light the show, and we present the show as an audio thing. It's all the money that's been spent in terms of production has been spent on a more ambitious PA system and a better, more illuminating, you'll forgive the pun, light show. Because basically what we're trying to do is to let people hear us and see us while we play. We don't want to confuse them with theatrical gimmicks that will lead to endless questions in interviews like, you know, where have you studied ballet, or, you know, what is the nature of your particular style of humor, or, you know, how long does it take to choreograph one of those songs, or any of these sort of questions. I mean, what we go on and we either retain, with a small sense of humour, some of the stylized way of performing that we've utilised in the past. We do that for old time's sake, or we go on and improvise the newer songs in a very free sort of a way. I mean, our approach now is very much that of being a progressive rock group. It has nothing to do with theatrics, and I wouldn't want it to anymore. I think it got accidentally dangerously near that 3 or 4 years ago, and unknowingly I think Jethro Tull have helped to bring about this over-consciousness towards theatricality that pervades rock music on the side of the musician and the side of the audience. You know, they've begun to, the audiences perhaps expect to see something very elaborately staged now. But by elaborately staging something, I think you take away a lot of that spontaneity, a lot of that special something. And we actually, we change our set around all the time now. I mean, we just, every night it's different. You know, we say, we're not going to play that song, we're going to play something else, you know, lest it become the same every night, lest it become too much of a showbiz sort of entity. I mean, the show isn't like that. It's just, it's us getting up and playing songs.
Dharma for one.
I'm John Brodey, and this is RATW Radio. Don't go away, because we'll be resuming our conversation with Ian Anderson after this brief pause.
Now there's a record that's gonna make your speakers quiver, your furniture and mirrors start shaking, and your neighbors absolutely hate you.
Well, you are not my baby. You better shut it up. I gotta beat you up.
Ramones on their debut album are going to change the course of rock by stripping it to its bare skeleton and leaving it in shock. There have been many groups who've tried their hand to make this kind of music work on record, but none who have succeeded as well as the pride of New York showcase club CBGB.
Let's dance! Let's dance! Oh, let's go!
The Ramones, a new album on Sire, marketed by ABC Records and GRT Tapes. If you don't get it, they'll get you.
A little earlier, Ian Anderson mentioned that bands like Jethro Tull seem to have different careers in different countries around the world. However, over the years, a Jethro Tull fan, no matter what his nationality, has developed a set pattern in his head as to what Jethro Tull should sound like. We mentioned this to Ian, and he not only agreed but gave us an idea of what it's like for someone on the receiving end of that kind of expectation.
I've always felt that they expected that, yeah, because from the first year of playing in England, you know, there was definitely an identifying thing went on in the audience. See, we began by playing all these little blues clubs, you know, and we played the same sort of songs every night, and we went up and down the country playing all these places, and then we went back to them and played them all again, you know, almost on a monthly rota system, you know, we're playing all the clubs. And of course they would say, hey, to their friend, I saw this group a month ago, and the singer dresses like this and does that, and the guitarist plays this and wears this and that, you know, must go and see them. And sure enough, you'd go there, or he would take his friend, and you'd be there playing, and you would be as he described it to his friend, because you had a sort of way of doing it, you know, certain clothes that you wore and certain style. I mean, even back then, you know, there was something expected of the group. And back then, in that first year of playing, I remember sort of gritting my teeth and going on at the Marquee Club, you know, after playing there for many weeks, you know, going on and wearing something different, just because I didn't want to be trapped in that long overcoat syndrome, you know. It was getting to be a pressure. And I went on and wore different clothes for a month, you know. And it was all quite amusing, really, but it, you know, certainly I think we were in danger of being trapped then, and have been in danger ever since. But rather like then, you know, we still try to do something, you know, that isn't expected, something that doesn't quite fit the expectations of the audience, although I'm sure we satisfy those expectations for the greater part, because you know, you can only change so much. You are the person you are, and you play the way you play, and you're going to inevitably do most of the things the audience want to hear or see or whatever. But obviously, you know, you want to be not just a caricature of your public image. You want to be something a little more than that. And indeed, I would hope that if Jethro Tull is ultimately going to mean anything, you know, in the musical history books, it'll just be that we continually confounded the critics.
Really don't mind if you sit this one out. My words but a whisper, your deafness a shout. I may make you feel, but I can't make you think. Your sperm's in the gutter, your love's in the sink. So you ride yourself over the fields, and you make all your animals deals, and your wise men don't know how it feels to be thick as a brick. And the sandcastle virtues are all swept away in the tidal destruction, the moral malaise. The elastic retreat rings the close of play. uncovers the newfangled way. But your new shoes are worn at the heels, and your suntans rapidly peel, and your wise men don't know how it feels to be thick as a brick. And the love that I feel is so far away. I'm a bad dream that I just had today. And you shake your head. You said it's a shame. Spin me back down the years and the days of my youth. Draw the lace and black curtains and shut out the whole truth. Spin me down the long ages, let them sing the song.
That they do tend to have a go at us is because they do find it difficult to know where it is, to use an American expression, we're coming from. They don't actually know what it is that makes us play this way or make this record or write that lyric or whatever. It's a little bit worrying to them whether it's real or whether it's contrived or what, you know. It's and of course we get quite a lot of harsh criticism because the records are inclined to be different. You know, they are going to disappoint some people. You know, inevitably. I'm not glad that they do, but I am glad that they do. If you know what I mean. I would hate to be pleasing all of the people all of the time because it would mean resorting to playing to the average again. You see, and I don't want to accept that that can be done. I must insist upon the individuals, you know, and trying to change their awareness of music, not merely to satisfy their preconceptions about music. You know, one has to attempt that something that's a little different, you know, and try to sway people to your point of view. It's very important. I mean, we do that to a small extent with every record, I think. And I hope we continue to do that. I mean, I know what the next record, I mean, it's going to be nothing like the one that's out at the moment. I mean, a totally different sort of musical level, you know, which is amusing, but it's the same guy writing the songs and the same group playing them, but it'll sound completely different. You know, the songs are different, the lyrics are different tack, you know, they're onto a different thing altogether, you know. It's great fun to do that. I mean, I know what the next record is. You don't, you know, and that fills me with a great sort of drive and enthusiasm for getting it done, you know, so I can play it to you, and you'll then say, hey, yeah, I remember talking to him a few months ago, and he said it was going to be different, and yeah, he was right, you know. It's good fun. It's very good fun to write and play music.
Sitting on the park bench, eyeing little girls with bad intent.
cold. An old man wandering lonely, taking time the only way he knows. Leg hurting bad as he bends to pick a dog end. He goes down to the bog and warms his feet. Feeling alone, the armies of the road, salvation alamode and a cup of tea. Aqualung, my friend, don't you start away uneasy. You poor old sod, you see it's so good to be. Walking through forests of palm tree apartments, scoff at the monkeys who live in their dark tents. Down by the water hole, drunk every Friday, eating their nuts, saving their raisins for Sunday. Lions and tigers who wait in the shadows, they're fast but they're lazy and sleep in green meadows. Well, that's Bungle in the jungle. Well, that's alright by me, yes. Well, I'm a tiger when I want love, but I'm a snake if we disagree. Just say a word and the boys will be right there with claws at your back to send a chill through the night. Hey, is it so frightening to have me at your shoulder? Thunder and lightning couldn't be bolder. I'll write on your tombstone, I thank you for dinner. This game that we animals play is the winner. Well, let's bungle in the jungle. Well, that's alright by me, yes. I'm a tiger when I want love. I'm a snake if we disagree. The rivers are full of crocodile nasties, and he who made kittens put snakes in the grass. He's a lover of life, but a player of pawns. Yes, the king on his sunset lies waiting for dawn to light up his jungle as players resume. The monkeys see willing to strike up the tune. Well, let's bungle in the jungle. Well, that's alright by me. Yes. I'm a tiger when I want love. I'm a snake
really feel that, I mean, remembering my first involvement with music, my first sort of taste of it, the biggest thing it had to offer me was the identification with something special that was mine. You know, the value of it was the fact that I related to the music, and the guy sitting next to me in class, you know, the next desk, had never even heard of the people I liked. That was what made it special. You know, it was something that you discovered, you know, and you were very eager to display to other people. You know, you say to people, hey, you really must listen to this is great, you know. It was very exciting. And that doesn't happen to the same extent today. I just don't believe it does, you know, because we don't discover Beatles and Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelins anymore, you know. There aren't any. There are only the old ones, you know, who are still doing it, you know. But I sometimes think that, you know, that these groups are what the public made them, you know, these old groups. The Beatles are what the public made them. The public were excited about the Beatles, and the Beatles got excited about themselves, you know. And there was a tremendous enthusiasm, you know, that bounced between the musicians and the audience. But today, groups sort of are very bitter, I think, when they're struggling for success in their early days today, because the audience aren't that excited anymore, you know, about new music. People don't seem to desperately want new music. They seem quite content to accept the likes of the Stones and Jethro Tull, for that matter, you know. And most of the kids listening to this, I mean, they shouldn't be listening to people like me. I mean, I really mean that. They shouldn't be listening to Jethro Tull. They should be saying, you know, the word that begins with F, Jethro Tull, you know, that's what our brothers and sisters listen to. We don't want to listen to that, you know, our old brothers and sisters. I mean, we want to find something different, you know. And to an extent, maybe, you know, those who would say, well, so the young kids have discovered the Bay City Rollers or something. But that isn't what I mean, because the Bay City Rollers are obviously, you know, a rehash of the early Beatles sort of approach, both on a management level and on a musical one. And they offer, I mean, there's nothing musically that they have to offer, whereas the Beatles did. They were refreshing, they were innovative in terms of music. So it's a much bigger challenge today, both for the young musicians starting and for the audience, you know. But it's not going to come easy, you know, anything new. It's not going to come easily at all. It really has to be strived for. And when you think you've found it, you've really got to demonstrate your excitement about it to everybody. You've got to try and whip up some real enthusiasm, because it is so hard to find originality now. That when you think you've got it, it's worth screaming and shouting about, you know.
In the shuffling madness of the locomotive breath runs the all-time loser, headlong to his death. Oh, it feels a piston scraping, steam breaking on his brow. Oh, Charlie stole the handle, and the train it won't stop going. No, it just slow down. Sees his children jumping off the stations one by one. His woman and his best friend in bed and having fun. Oh, he's crawling down the corridor on his hands and knees. Oh, Charlie stole the handle, and the train it won't stop going. No, it just slow down. Hey. silence howling catches angels as they fall. And the all-time winner has got him by the balls. Oh, he picks up Gideon's Bible, open at page 1. I think the God, he stole the handle, and the train, it won't stop going. No, it don't slow down. 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 No, yeah, I never do rock and roll. If you see me now, it's a die. And no, yeah, I never do rock and roll. But he was too young to die.
I'll be back with news of next week's show after this short pause.
Their appearances in Europe and Great Britain have created an unprecedented uproar and an undying loyalty among their fans. The demand for their return to vinyl has been overwhelming. The Flamin' Groovies. Pure, unadulterated rock and roll is back, played with a zeal that has never been matched. Shake Some Action. An album of 14 red-hot reasons why rock and roll is here to stay. Shake Some Action, the long-awaited return of the Flamin' Groovies on Sire Records, marketed by ABC.